And you're welcome back to the polls. Black Stars head coach Otto Addo has finally named his 26-man squad for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Abdul Manaf, Nuruddin, Danlad Ibrahim, and also Lawrence Ati-Zeghia, some of the goalkeepers that will be representing the national team. So let's get into the list and try and get a sense of what's happening with regard to our national team. George Addo JoyNews with Joy Sports joins us here on the polls. Yep. George, you were there when the action was happening, so yes, of course you have a sense of what's actually going on. And it's sad, and we must put it out there, that our main goalkeeper, in fact, the one who was even deputizing him, they will all be losing out on the competition.
Actually lost out. There's no Jojo Wallacott who plays his football for Charlton. He had a great move from Swindon Town after, some good performances.
What reports are we receiving on that?
He had a finger injury, and the scans proved that he would not be able to recover in time for the World Cup. It's going to take longer than expected.
Oh, too bad for us,
I guess. That means that the Black Stars goalkeeping department and medical team had to make a decision on whether to take a goalkeeper who's injured to the World Cup, considering and keeping in mind that he is number one. He's really needed. And Richard Ofori as well had an issue as well over the weekend, and clearly the scans also proved that there was some fluid in his knee, and if you followed a lot of injuries when it comes to knee and fluid in knee, meant that it's going to take a bit longer for him to come back to it. So it meant that then two goalkeepers had to drop out.
So let's look at, and that's where I want to start off from. Yes. Let's look at the replacement and the possible implication on the national team and their performance at the tournament.
Yeah, Lawrence Ati-Zeghia is goalkeeper, flies his trade in Belgium, Eupen. I mean, I'm talking about Manaf. Manaf is the Eupen guy in Belgium, of course. Ati-Zeghia does a great job. He's not had fantastic stints with the national team, to say. He's conceded a number of goals, and so there's a general opinion that because he's conceded a number of goals, he's not suited for the Black Stars' #1 role. But if you look at it into real detail, he's a goalkeeper who's got a fantastic foot, a very, very good ball-playing goalkeeper. And again, if you look at the chances conceded in relation to the kind of opposition that he has played against, he's perhaps been unlucky because he's come up against the likes of Algeria, Morocco in the lead up to the AFCON, and Mali, and so you will not be exactly right to say because he has conceded goals, he's not good enough.
But any options?
An example, you can take the goalkeeper of Manchester United, and if you look at his goal and conceding rate, of course, he played like 22 games, he has conceded 17. Doesn't necessarily suggest that he's a bad goalkeeper. You want to look at the number of chances conceded by the defense and do the analysis on how many goals have been conceded, and you can say that. So Ati-Zeghia is not a bad goalkeeper. Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. He plays. He's just not had a great time when he's with the national team. Manaf Nuruddin, yes, we saw him play in the Kirin Cup when the Black Stars played against Chile. He had a fantastic game, and he pulled off about 2 saves in a penalty shootout, something that's very, very rare from Ghanaian goalkeepers. So he had a lot of praise in that one, and he'll be very excited to be in.
And George, when this kind of selection is done, the focus now is on the coach.
Yes.
And what may have motivated his decision.
Yes.
Was that really an alternative for Otto Addo?
I think they are great goalkeepers. We have great goalkeepers, all right. But because of having to build a cohesive unit, you're looking at goalkeepers who are good enough and around the system. So it easily got in the likes of Manaf Nuruddin and Lawrence Ati-Zeghia. Because if you look at the Black Stars over the last 4 years, as well as 3 years, they have had opportunities to go in and out. Then the last goalkeeper is the Asante Kotoko goalkeeper, Danlad Ibrahim. It was a huge cry for Danlad Ibrahim to be part of the squad.
Finally, he's made it.
Yeah, he's finally made it. And that's the point.
For those of you,
and for him, somebody who has been through all the national teams, as an under-17 goalkeeper, he was under-20 goalkeeper, under-23 goalkeeper, currently helped the team to qualify to CHAN, even the local Black Stars. So when you look at those analysis and the fact that he's finally got into it, it's great. I don't think with Jojo Wallacott and Richard Ofori, we had the best of goalkeepers compared to our former World Cups and what we have done in the last World Cups. Clearly, there was a bit of a decline in it, but we've got to deal with this one and see where it goes.
George, let's get to this. I want to bring up now the full list of the squad, 26-man squad. Comes with a picture of Andre Dedeayu. So it goes without saying
That's
the man of the moment.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you talk about a poster boy, the poster boy for the World Cup, look, I think it's Thomas Partey actually because of his performances at Arsenal. But anyways, Dele Ayew must be there and is there because he's the captain of the side. And again, he's going to his 3rd World Cup. So he's got a lot of experience. And guess what? He plays his football in Al Sadd in Qatar. And the World Cup is in Qatar.
So the terrain is quite...
Yeah, it sits very well to have Dele Ayew.
So let's go to the defenders, I guess.
Yes, the defenders. Yeah, Tariq Lamptey, Brighton. Yeah, we've seen him play a lot. Aliou Seydoux was well placed for Clermont Foot in the French Liga. Alexander Djikou does his football in France as well for Strasbourg. Gideon Mensah plays for Auxerre. Dennis Odoi plays for Club Brugge. Daniel Amate plays for Leicester City. Mohamed Salisu plays his football for Southampton. Joseph Aidoo there, Celta Vigo, and Baba Rahman plays for Reading in the Championship.
Okay, so Andre himself comes up.
Yeah, Andre comes in the midfield. It's Andre Ayew. Al Sadd, Mohamed Kudus plays for Ajax. Fatal Taraku plays for Sporting Lisbon. Thomas Partey, yes, for Arsenal. Antoine Semenyo plays for Bristol City. Elisha Owusu-Gent. We've got Kamal Sowa also plays for Club Brugge. So Kamal Sowa and Dennis Odoi were part of the squad for Club Brugge, who qualified for the first time to the knockout stage, and the 2nd Belgium club to do that. That's that. There's Kamaldeen Sulemana plays for Rennes, Daniel Kopicher plays for Freiburg, Abdul Salih Samet, one of the new faces in that, plays for Lens.
Right.
And there's Osman Bukhari doing his great work there with Belgrade, and Daniel Lefrier Barnier, who plays for Accra.
So that's our midfield.
Midfield sorted out there. And you go to the strikers, Inaki Williams for Athletic Club, Athletic Bilbao, Jordan Ayew there for Crystal Palace.
Are we set, and what are our chances? I guess that's the question on the mind of every Ghanaian. Are we really sure that this 26-man squad would make a difference?
Okay, I have to warn everybody, and I want to be very fair with this analysis.
Right.
I think this is the weakest squad we are sending to a World Cup based on what we have. The weakest. I mean, I'm looking at 2006 when we had a cohesive unit. Even though it was the first time the likes of Michael Essien and co, they had played at the youth level, so there was a certain unit.
Right.
And then between 2006 and 2010, we had the Africa Cup of Nations 2008, which we hosted. We had the AFCON 2010, and then we also had the CHAN and the U20 World Cup.
Yes.
So they had played together for some time. And
so the chemistry was there.
The chemistry was there.
Right.
From 2010 to 2014, we had 2 Africa Cup of Nations, 2013 and 2012. And then they went to 2014. Now, there was a break because in 2018, we didn't qualify. And normally when the team has bad performances, then it means that there's going to be a lot of changing and wholesale, substitutions and all of that. So once we didn't qualify for the World Cup, it meant we're going to change. In the 2019 AFCON, we're knocked out in the round of 16. That's not Ghana because we are used to semi-finals. We changed a lot again. And then in the 2021 AFCON, we put out our worst performance of the Africa Cup of Nations. There was change again. And then the qualifier against Nigeria, things begin to change there. So I'd say weakest in the sense that these boys have not been together. They are crying for time, but there's no time.
And the call-up itself to the national team has been subject to a lot of controversy.
Yes, because that has been the order of the day for the Black Stars. Let me take our viewers down memory lane.
Right.
In 2006, the man who played for Kotoko, who did so well, left the country, Baba Armando. If you remember Baba Armando, he didn't make it into the World Cup squad. Everybody was screaming loud, and he even went on with allegations that people had paid money and all of that. Nothing came out of that. In 2010, you remember Lai Kinson. He was a fantastic player. He was dropped by Bilivan Raivach, and he was absolutely angry.
And I'm we've seen recent reports of
him holding the coach's neck and all. And you can understand Richard Lai Kinson because in 2006 he didn't qualify. I mean, he didn't make it because of technicalities when we played against Senegal at the previous AFCON. And then he was dropped. In 2014, we didn't have so much drama around it. But in 2022, clearly the drama was on Joseph Paintsil, who a lot of fans believe had played well and scored 6 goals, 5 assists for his club, Ghent, and definitely deserved to be in there. There was also Jeffrey Slop, who has played about 200 Premier League games, who has been a consistent performer for Crystal Palace, played in various positions. They thought he should be there. So at the press conference, that was the question everybody expected Coach Otto Addo to answer.
His response?
He danced around it beautifully. He said he didn't want to go into players who were not in the squad.
We had the president say, allow the coach and the technical team to decide, but is that the reality on the ground?
Coach Siki Akono, the former man for the Black Stars, in an interview with my colleague Mukhtar Nabil, I did indicate that he had challenges having a free hand. Right. The GFA boss, Keto Kweku, was on our platform, and he says that it's never going to happen that the coach is going to have the opportunity to choose anybody that he wants to. So he says there's something called a process that they go through. Okay. Now, this morning, Coach Otto Addo said a big thank you to Keto Kweku for allowing him to be his own man.
Oh, so at least for once.
Yes, that's, you see, what the issue is that when
or it's part of the formalities.
See, when CK was in charge,
right.
CK is not Otto in any way. Right. But when CK was in charge, he said he was in charge. When he was not in charge, he says, no, I wasn't given a free hand. Right. Coach Otto has told us that he's so grateful to Keto Kweku for allowing him to choose the players. And then we asked him the question, so how did you go about it? Yeah. He says his criteria is not only performance on the pitch. That means that you can be playing well at club level, but if the technical team did not view and see what you are and who you are as contributing to the team being a cohesive unit, we're really not going to look.
So football should also be about the fans, George. Bring back the love. That's what the FA is seeking to do with this recent, the campaign that we're embarking on. Are we certain that with this kind of a national team, the spirit will be back?
Yeah, the spirit must be back. Because obviously, after we argue about who should be there and who's not there, now we know the players who are going. Nothing can change from here. That list that you saw been submitted to FIFA, and they've actually put in the system. Coach Otto Addo, they say they have about 11 players on standby, but nothing can be done. So it's up to all of us to support the Black Stars as much as we can do. But knowing how heartbreaks have come in the past, I'll say let's be cautious.
But this is it.
Let's be cautious. This is it. Nothing can change. Nothing can change. You know, we have a friendly against Switzerland on Thursday. A lot will happen in the training period before the games and all. But it's about it. It's about it.
What happens if someone drops out at this stage?
It depends on the number and which area. If it's heavily affected, we can draft in one of those on standby, but which FIFA is aware of. But if you look at how it's going, I think the only place we got, I think only 2 strikers. That's one area. If you look at right back, I think we have about 3 of them. Left back 2. So you just look at those areas because it's going to be a tough competition anyway with Portugal, South Korea and Uruguay.
Okay, George, let's wrap up. Any words from the members of the team so far? Yes, I've seen Daniel Kofi feature a tweet. Okay. He's happy to represent Ghana at the World Cup. I've seen Dan Lad as well tweet. There's a picture of him standing in Abu Dhabi at the moment. He's happy. Daniel Free Bani also tweeted some scriptures. I'm like, okay, we understand. You're going to the World Cup. You see 1 or 2 of them. Need a lot. But those who are not happy, we haven't seen a lot of tweets coming in at the moment. Yeah, so I say fairly. Those who are going there for the first time are those who really, really love it. And guess what? This is a very inexperienced squad. And because aside Andre and Jordan Ayuel, really all of them are going to the World Cup for the first time. So first kickoff? We play on the 24th of November. That is next week Thursday. It's not far away. We play against Portugal, and Portugal. So help us, Lord. Cristiano Ronaldo is firing himself up by getting angry with Manchester United and all. But the World Cup is full of surprises too. If you can take your chances, so I hope that we can go out there and surprise the world like we always do at every World Cup. Except that in 2014 the surprises were more towards ourselves. Normally the first game is important. And if you can pick a point or 3 points against Portugal, you can move from here. I tell everybody, they ask me, George, so where are we likely to finish? Are we making it past the group stage, for instance? I just tell them, first targets for the Black Stars, and this should be right in their heads, is get a point or 3 from the Portugal game. And then I'll roll in with the next targets. We'll live all of the excitement. And we need to talk about Joy Prime and what Joy Prime has to offer. It's going to be showing 28 games in the World Cup. It's going to be buzzing, and you know how we do it all the time. There's going to be behind-the-scenes stuff. We're going to have guys on the ground here in Ghana. There'll be some great, wonderful viewing centers and everything that comes with the World Cup, especially when the Black Stars are right in there. But give your heart some space. It could be tough. And George will be in the midst of the action, so expect more from the Joy Sports team. George Addo Jr., thank you for joining us. And of course, you're still with us here on The Pulse. We'll be back shortly.